We are welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our Claret and Booze Up, our Friday night show. You never know, it could become a regular thing. I hope you liked our new snazzy intro. But yeah, I'm Nick.
I'm Gary. Hello, everyone. All of our thousands of viewers, welcome along. And what we're going to do tonight, we're going to go, first of all, we're going to talk about last night with the Rapid Vienna excitement. Then we're going to talk about a preview for Sunday with Brentford. And we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the March, the Hammers United March. Plus, we've got a few other bits of news to talk about. And then hopefully at the end, if we've got any guests, we'll bring them on and we'll have a guest section. Right, Nick, over to you.
Okay, cool. Right, well, first of all, we'll throw up the Rapid Vienna match review. So me and Gary both went to the game last night. What was your journey to and from the game like? What did you think yesterday?
I thought it was brilliant. I mean, last night I had to get a train there, unfortunately, because my car's only got half a tank of petrol. I was saving diesel. I was saving diesel, so I had to go to Hainault and get a central line. So I walked around and I walked. It's been a long time, you know, since I walked into the ground. It's all changed. It's all changed. The that actual walkway up to the ground is like it's got restaurants and stuff all alongside it now. It looks really good. You know,
what was the journey time?
It was all right. It took from
the station.
Oh, from the station, it was like probably 10 minutes walk from the station entrance, ran to the entrance to the approach. You know, it wasn't that bad at all. It felt shorter than it used to feel because I did it a few times when we first moved into the stadium. I did it quite a few times and I hated it. You know, I don't know what it was. I think the mood last night sort of carried people along a little bit. We're all a little bit happy to be back in Europe.
And you could have a few beers because you weren't driving.
I didn't have a few beers last night.
You didn't?
No, I mean, look, I did.
Missed opportunity that was.
Well, we'll come on to this later, but I drove to the station, but so I couldn't really have too many beers. But I did have a couple of pints of Amstel. But it didn't really count because it was crap. It really was. It was inside the stadium from one of those little stand-up kiosks over the back, and honestly, it was flat. It was horrible. So I drank one, and then I sort of sipped at the second one. I didn't really go any further. You know?
Yeah, pre-poured about half hour ago, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I know. But obviously, I took Ben. We drove parts up at Here East. Walked along the canal, and as I shared that tweet, the Mark Javot tweet about the rib man, I thought we'd go and try and find him round by Hackney Wick Station. So I walked down the canal, up and round, got lost. Eventually found where he was plotted up. Yeah, basically right. If you follow his directions and do the opposite of what I did, you'll find him.
Where is it? Where is he?
If you come out of Hackney Wick Station, turn right. There's a little kind of open air courtyard.
He's in
there, like where the warehouses are, and he's put it up right inside that gate. But yeah, we got there and it sold out. So it sold out an hour previous. So
I think that place is called the Yard, isn't it? It's got all the different.
It's around there, yeah. So it's around the Yard is there, but he isn't in that particular place. But you'll find it if you follow his directions. Come out the station, turn right. And then you see him on your right hand side as you go in, and if you go further on, there's places that sell beer and stuff like that. Yeah. But so what we did was it was about 6:30, 6:45. We wandered down to the canal, and I went to the after. Now Mike's got me on these funky beers. We went to the the place, the barge on the canal. I can't think what it's called now. I paid like £6 for a tiny can of craft beer and just waited for just waited for 15 minutes before kickoff. Wandered in, didn't really have any issues. It was all good, really. Not bad at all. But
I must admit, getting into the ground was no problem at all. We went through the main gates for once, and the queues were really short. We were an hour before kickoff, so we got there really early. But no, there was absolutely nothing. And the QR code, I do resent the fact they're sending us one QR code per match. I think that's a bit of an annoyance. But at the same time, it's a process now, right? They send the email, add it to your Apple Wallet, and then put it under. And I honestly, for every game, I haven't had a problem. You know, what you got to do is on the Apple Wallet, you've got to get your thumb and move it forward so as it goes under the reader. But if you do that, it just works, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I do think the only problem with QR codes is the fact that it's not secure. So at least people want, because they want a physical card, but The trouble is, if you get one for the whole season and someone clones it or gets a snap of it, that's it. They've got your ticket, and they can get in.
True. Yeah.
So there is that argument as well. But anyway, onto the game. What were your thoughts pre-match? What did you what were you expecting before kickoff?
What was I expecting? I was expecting a similar sort of lineup as what we played away in Croatia, which was a couple of first team players and majority sort of B team players, if you like, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, he kept Antonio up front, which I was really pleased about. Pleased about. Declan Rice in the middle to give us the strength to play alongside Noble. I mean, I don't think Souček and Noble would quite hit it off the way Deck and Noble do. I think Cresswell, he doesn't get through a hell of a lot of running. Don't want to be unkind to him, but he doesn't get through a hell of a lot of, I would say, miles every game, right? No. And other than that, Benrahma, who's seems to be happy to just play in every game, like Bowen, got happy in every game. So yeah, it was exactly the sort of lineup I thought it would be, and I did predict 2-0 home win on Twitter before we went in. So yeah, I did. Yeah,
I can't believe it, to be honest.
It's my whatever. Believe what you want, but lottery numbers come to me.
Yeah. No. I felt the same. I was surprised that. I mean, he was right in the end because he took the opposition seriously. I mean, they weren't the best team, but they kind of did stifle us. But I thought, based on the fact that they are pretty shit this year. They're like they were second from bottom, I think, in the Austrian Bundesliga. Yeah. I kind of underestimated him a little bit. I thought he may rest a few more players, but the way that he did it, I think we played good players, but you could see we weren't playing at full tilt. We was in second gear. If we needed to go up a gear, then obviously the players were on the pitch that could have done it. But yeah, I thought that the whole thing kind of played out ridiculously sort of efficiently, didn't it? There was no issues apart from that penalty palaver.
Yeah, I think in the first half we were well on top. I mean, we cut them open about 4 times before we scored. I mean, the 2 headers that hit the post. There were a number of other times as well that we got through. Antonio was having a massive physical battle against the defenders, and he was loving it. He was absolutely loving it. And the goal was just so much deserved because we were way on top at that point, and Rapid Vienna didn't seem to be offering anything, to be fair. And then I think when we went 1-0 up, great goal, brilliant ball from Yarmolenko, really brilliant ball from Yarmolenko. I didn't realise, where you're in the ground and you see it doesn't really hit home how high quality the goal was. Yeah. When you see it played back, it's a beautiful run and a ball from Yarmolenko, a chest and a pass from Antonio, and then a goal. It was a beautiful goal. It really was.
It was a brilliant goal.
And yeah, I think after that, we kind of 1-0 up, we went into our shell a bit, and they started getting possession in the first half a little bit. Having said that, they didn't really do much to hurt us in the first half. So I'd say it was a really safe first half. Good performance, good strong performance.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was pleased with it, to be honest. I thought, like you said, we had plenty of opportunities. We were starting to look a little bit more threatening from set pieces again, which was quite nice to see. They're not going in now, are they? My God, I mean, was it Rice and Dawson hit the post, and we got so close, but we was more of a threat. So and they were quite a big team as well. Yeah, so
you couldn't go much closer than we went, though, could you? I mean,
no. I'm just saying I think it's just luck now. To be honest, we should have got in a couple of goals up. I think first half, it weren't champagne football, was it? But we did what we needed to do. It was good. I thought,
it was functional football. We set out with a strong enough team to do a job, and we did the job. It was absolutely, in a way, you couldn't really have designed it better. I mean,
no, not at all.
I don't want to say Moyes is a genius, but I think he's a genius.
He is a bit, isn't he? He's looking that way. But then, onto the second half. I think we kind of, I don't know if we took our foot off the gas a little bit. I think they did change shape a little bit. Obviously, they had to go for it a little bit more. Even then, they didn't really bother us too much. I don't think. I mean, I know they had that. That we had that one scare. We had that one scare, but I don't think they really bothered us too much. I think you really noticed when when Antonio came off, I think they kind of their tails went up a little bit there, because as good as Bowen is in that role when he covers for Antonio, I think that Antonio was, as you said, he was having a fight with those defenders last night, and they definitely kind of upped it a little bit when he went off. But I thought Moyes' use of the subs was really good. You know, so I don't think anyone's been overworked.
No.
You know, no one's been overworked, so we should be all fit and raring to go for the weekend. And it was just a really efficient performance. I didn't see the last goal because I left on 90 minutes, so I didn't actually see that. I've seen it since, but didn't see it live. Just heard the roar as I was walking down the canal.
Listen, you left before me. You left on 89 minutes. I always traditionally, for the last 30 years, have left every game on 90 minutes, dead on, right? 90 minutes. So I was waiting for 90 minutes. No way I was leaving 30 seconds earlier for you, right? And that was, but yeah, going back to the second half, I think it was a fantastic night, but for the second game running, it's taken ages. It's taken forever for our crowd to get back into their seats for the second half. And I don't know whether that affects the players, but it's the second game in a row at home where we've made quite a slow start to the second half. And when you look around the stands, I'm making sure I'm back in my seat in time, but half the rest of the crowd are not. You know, they're still queuing for a beer, trying to neck the beer that they've got, and whatever else. Anyway, look, they took control. They started looking quite dangerous, I thought, and they pushed forward and they got the penalty of sorts, which was clearly in the replay in the stadium. You know, thank God I was looking down at my phone and one of my WhatsApp groups that said that's never a pen. So I thought, oh, phew. But I did enjoy the way the referee, he had to go across that screen, which was miles away, wasn't it? It was over the other side of the pitch. And he looked at the replays. And as he's looking at the replays, the crowd are just giving him more and more grief and started stamping in their seats and everything else. And so there's no way he was going to give a decision the other way after that. But it was justice. It was justice. And, you know, I left before the Benrahma goal. But when you see that back, that was a bit of quality from Benrahma, wasn't it? The way he makes it look so simple, doesn't he, the guy? He's getting better and better and better, Benrahma. I love him. I can't say enough about Benrahma. And I think Moyes loves him as well now. When you listen to Moyes in the review that he did today, I think he's making a point now every time he speaks to say how well, you know, Benny's doing, how he's improving, how it took him quite a while to get engaged, to understand what it takes to be a Premier League player. That's what he said. Yeah. Now he does understand it, you know, so... he wants, and it looks to me, you know, in passing, whenever he scores or done something good, the other players seem to love him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a bit of a hybrid between like a show pony and a pit bull. He can kind of do anything, you know. And like I say, there were some good performances there. I think you know, Declan Rice was not just for his goal; he was all over the place again, wasn't he? He was all over the place. He was everywhere. He was superb. Dawson had a really good game. I have to give him a bit of a mention because I do give him stick sometimes, but he was brilliant. I thought Johnson had a good game. However, I do think he needs to offer a little bit more going forward if he's going to challenge at that position. But he did have a good, solid game. I thought Noble did. He kind of recovered, but he looked really, really kind of sluggish initially. A couple of loose passes. I think he sort of put Deck under pressure a little bit initially, and. He did recover. He recovered, but he does. Bless him. You can see he's waiting for retirement now, isn't he?
but Moyes, as you said earlier, Moyes got the subs bang on, right? He saw when Noble started tiring, and he took it off. He made the mass change. I disagree with you about Johnson. I thought, apart from, you know, he did dive in for the penalty, but he pulled his leg away. But it could have been a penalty. That was a bit of a mistake by him. But that aside. I thought he looked really, really confident yesterday. I thought he looked really confident. You know, and this goes back to something you said in a previous video where you said that Kurt Zuma's come in, and since Kurt Zuma's come in, Kurt Zuma even, not Kurt, right? Yeah, it is Friday Night Booze, by the way. Since he's come in, the other defenders, especially Diop, have started to refine their kind of aggressive streak, start to impose themselves on the game. And that's what I saw from Johnson yesterday. I saw aggression in the first half and the second half. He was holding no prisoners. He was actually, and a couple of times there was a couple of real cute bits of skill where he took a lofted ball and he timed it absolutely perfectly. I think he's coming on leaps and bounds, Johnson. Clearly a confidence player, needs confidence, but it's nice to see him playing in his natural right fullback position.
Yeah. I think so. I think he's a good player. I mean, he's a brilliant backup, if you like. Yeah. I mean, the fact that we've got decent cover. Was Masuaki was available, so he started ahead of Masuaki yesterday.
Yeah.
That
doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
No. So I know he was on the right side, wasn't he? But yeah, I thought it was a deserved win. I think for me, my man of the match probably was Rice. I think he deserves it. I think he was the best player on the pitch.
It's one of those games where you look at, he's my man of the match as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And the reason is, I think in games like that and other games that we've watched recently, I don't know if it's just me, but he looks like the adult playing amongst a bunch of kids. He does. He is head and shoulders literally above most of the people around him, and just a class act, absolute class act.
He reads the game so well. Like he's as athletic as he is. He's got the athleticism to recover if he makes a mistake, but he never makes a mistake. He's always in the right position. He can kind of forecast where passes are going to be made, and that's it's that intelligence really that kind of and he is getting forward now, and I think he's evolving as a player. And I've got to be honest, I'm so relieved that he came out in that press conference and said what he said, because I know he says it with his performances. I know he does that. I know there's no doubt in his commitment by the way that he plays. But with all this crap that we're constantly having to listen to all the time, that meant, for me personally, that meant a lot that he came out and done that. Because
what exactly what did he say in the press conference?
He said, I haven't got the scripts in front of me, but it was along the lines of, what I've just said. You can see by my performances how happy I am here. I've said it before. I love playing for the manager. I love playing with his team, and my sole focus is on West Ham. And
that's brilliant.
So it was brilliant. I think so. I'm glad he's done that. Yeah. That's going to kind of really sort of settle us down. But yeah, so on the whole, I mean, what about the? I suppose talking about the other thing is the fans, the away fans, the lively away fans. I mean, what was it? Did you see the?
You couldn't miss it. You couldn't miss it.
All about?
It was hilarious, wasn't it? Absolutely hilarious. They're doing all this swaying. For those of you that weren't at the game and didn't see it, that's exactly what they were doing, swaying from side to side like that in unison. It was brilliant. They had like a cheerleader up the front who was directing the crowd. It was good to see, and then they jump up and down all in unison as well. They'd do it. Probably be really effective if it was a whole ground. But then in Germany, probably every single club does it, so it probably loses its effect a little bit. But it was a wonderful novelty to see it down the other end, And then
perfectly synchronized, though. I mean, that was a good thing. That the limbs were perfectly.
It was German efficiency, without a shadow of a doubt. Right? Sorry, Austrian efficiency.
Austrian efficiency.
Yeah. And that was. You saw it all going off after the first. We didn't seem to have any old Bill in the ground, did we? It was just poor stewards, trying to separate fans who want to get at each other. And when our first goal went in, it was clear that a few Austrians decided to invade the home area, and some Austrians are known for invading areas, aren't they?
Yes, indeed.
And he got mentioned as well in one of the chants. So that, which is not too clever, I must admit, from our lot. But at the same time, it's football. It was funny. It was funny.
He did. It did kick off, didn't it? It did kick off over in that corner. I've seen some footage on Facebook actually, and it was a little bit tasty over there.
And what they were doing, it basically boiled down to, they settled it down, and then what you were watching were, Austria would throw a beer across at the West Ham, and then they would throw that beer back again, and it was just like an exchange of missiles, wasn't it? As the game went on. Absolutely weird. But yeah, it was nice too. You sort of you wonder what you wonder what the mindset of the German fan is, because they go to these games. I think the Germans get there nice and early and get drunk, and they do all that singing and swaying and everything else. They turn up at a London club who's supposed to be known for its atmosphere.
Yeah,
the atmosphere weren't bad last night. Actually, it was pretty good at times.
It was all right. It was okay.
But compared to a whole match of that, what they do, it's probably nothing. It's probably quite quiet. It's probably quite peaceful, So they probably turn up and thinking, what's this all about?
I think it was that epic light show we did at the start that got them going. I think that got them all rolled up, didn't it? That was impressive.
I'll tell you what. I'm not one to fall for gimmicks like that.
That was good, though, I enjoyed that.
I thought it was really well done. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. It's unusual for me to love something like that, because when you go back to like the last game at Upton Park with the fireworks and the lights,
they mess it up though, didn't they? They made it very tacky.
Yeah, exactly what it was. At Upton Park, that light show was tacky. Last night it wasn't tacky. That was on a par with like what Spurs do and stuff like that.
Don't mention Spurs. We're better than Spurs.
Fucking
Spurs. But yeah, before we move on, there is. I forgot to mention one player. I mentioned him on Facebook yesterday. I don't want to moan or get overexcited. But one of my main grizzles with Fabianski, I think he's a great keeper, is his distribution. It's shit, right? It's terrible. My jaw hit the floor when I was watching how bad Areola's was yesterday. It was fucking. That's as bad as I've seen, to be quite honest. His kicking was awful.
I agree with you.
I don't know what you think about that.
I agree with you, because I was saying the same thing to Paul. I was saying one of his strengths is supposed to be his distribution. And look at what he's just done. I mean, he boots the ball out and kicks the ball out. It goes nowhere, or it goes to the wrong player, or he puts one of his own players in trouble with it. It's just. I don't know whether he's nervous. I mean, you remember the last game where he had like a diabolical first 10 minutes where he was like gagging to make a mistake. I don't know whether it's just settling down time or whatever, but whatever it is, he needs to sort that shit out double quick.
I think it might be one of them. I think he needs game time, because I think with goalkeepers in particular, not that I've ever been a goalkeeper, but I think the longer you leave him on the bench, the more you're going to build this thing up. I think he needs to get in and he needs to settle down. I think if he leaves him sitting on the bench for a month or something like that, we're all going to build up these, like we are already. We've built up these unrealistic expectations of him coming out and being Gordon Banks, and I'm sure he will be a good keeper. But
I think what I've seen so far, I mean, when you watch his Fulham games, he's a great shot stopper.
Oh yeah.
But there's more to it than that, isn't there? And
absolutely. But anyway, shall we move on? So if we move on and look ahead to the Brentford game at the weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is going to be a tough game in my opinion. I mean, the table, it doesn't lie. They've not particularly sort of. Well, no, they have had some great results. They've played really well. I mean, none more so than that 3-3. Against Liverpool last weekend. I think they're a really good team. I think their tails are up. They've got that air of I don't give a fuck about them. They're just going to go out and they are going to have a go at you. They're a good counter-attacking team. They've got strength. They've got a good big beastie centre back in that Janssen, who's a complete wind up. I really like him. And they've got the strikers. I mean, the one that obviously that I love is Tony, but they've got the other chap as well whose name escapes me. But they've both been playing fantastically well this year, and they're a threat. They are a threat. I think we can beat them. I think we should beat them. I think we can beat them, but whether we will or not, I think we're going to have to be on top of our game. I think if we play, I don't think we played well against Leeds, and I don't think Leeds punished us. I think if we play like that against Brentford, I think we lose. I don't
know. I don't know about that, because we played well for 10 minutes against Leeds in the first half. Then they dominated us for 35 minutes. They were all over us. Second half, they didn't dominate us. We gradually got hold of the game, and then we ended up far stronger than them in like the last half hour. So I don't agree.
Yeah.
I don't agree if we play like that we'll lose, because I don't think Brentford are better than Leeds.
I don't think you can dismiss them. No, you can't dismiss them.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. They're a good side.
You know, you can't dismiss them. And like I say, they've got some fantastic players. I mean, Ivan Toney. There was a lot of people in our fan base actually on. You see it on Facebook. A lot of people raving about. I don't really follow the Championship, so I didn't really know what he was all about, to be honest. But a lot of people were raving about Ivan Toney, and he's come in, hit the ground running. I mean, he's awesome. He's a fantastic striker. I mean, if I could pick a striker at the minute to be a backup for Antonio. I think at the moment it would be him because he's, you've got to be looking at bringing players in that can do it in the Premier League, haven't you?
I think so, but I think you're doing the normal thing of what a lot of people do, and that is to judge too soon. Because you remember back to teams like Hull who get promoted and they absolutely fly through the first half of the season, and then they don't win a game in the second half of the season. Look at Norwich. I think last time they got promoted, that Pookie couldn't stop scoring for a couple of games. The one thing you can bank on with Premier League sides is they do their homework, and they will be watching the videos back, finding every little fault in these teams, and they're going to come up with. At the moment, people are not familiar with Brentford; they're taking them by surprise.
They're an unknown quantity, aren't they?
They're an unknown quantity, and if they're still doing what they're doing in, say, 3 months' time, then I'll probably agree with you that Ivan Toney's brilliant and Brentford are brilliant and everything else. But
I don't think Brentford are gonna maintain this. They're not going to. They'll drop. They will. But there is no doubting Ivan Toney has got quality. If you've watched him, he's a good player. He won't be at Brentford for long. He's not going to be at Brentford for long. It's not going to happen.
I think we'll see.
Yeah, but how do you think we're going to line up against them?
Well, I think after what we did last night, I think we've been back to our strongest 11. We all know that is, right? The only doubt from what Moyes said today is Soufal, so Johnson might stay in there.
Yeah, possibly. Is he a doubt? I didn't say that. Is that what you said in his presser?
What Moyes said was, he said him and Fredericks are both doubts, but both possibles. So, right. We could be without both of them or one of them or whatever. So, the injury situation is really positive at the moment. It really is, and I think that comes from being so fit. I like Brentford. I think they're a great club. They look after their fans. They've got a really great manager who's really, really organised. They've got an excellent scouting system. They pick up talent from here, there, and everywhere. And they've got a great way of playing as well. Similar way to playing sometimes as us, I guess. In giving the opposition possession, but at the same time they can do other stuff as well. They played a lot of long ball stuff against Liverpool last week, so they're bright. They've got a switched on coach.
That's right, though. But you should do that. You should be dynamic. I mean, the way that I think Leeds play. I mean, I'm kind of seeing through Bielsa this year because the way that he sets up, in my opinion, now it just looks naive. Every game he plays the same way, and I like the way they play. I like that kind of football, but you're not going to be successful unless you're Man City, unless you've got Pep Guardiola's squad. You can't set up like that every game. It's not going to work. Not in the Premier League.
No, agreed.
But yeah, I think it will be a tough game. I think for me, I would. Would you go with Areola or would you go with Fabianski to start?
Fabianski,
yeah. You stick with Fabs, and obviously Zuma and Oggy at the back.
Yeah. Cresswell and Soufal.
And what about the obviously Souček and Rice do kind of pick themselves? Yeah. What about that front three behind the striker though?
I think that picks itself as well at the moment. I think that's Benrahma, Fornals and Bowen.
Yeah. Vlasic he's still feeling his way in, isn't he?
Super sub at the moment. I thought last night was a little bit of an improvement for him in the second half, where he started to get a bit of fire in his belly and started to run at a few people. And a couple of times, I think it was you said you expected him to be, or someone did it. I think it was you.
An Arnautovic.
But you expect him to be an Arnautovic type of player,
of player, yeah.
And last night, I know he hasn't got the physicality of an Arnautovic. He's smaller, but a couple of times last night, he really got stuck into a few physical battles, and so that was I really enjoyed seeing that. So it's like the opposite, it's the antithesis of Benrahma. When Benrahma came to us, he had all the flair and all the forward play and none of the defensive. Vlasic has got all of the defensive and all the workman-like stuff that Fornals had, but he's yet to find his form up front, right? Going forward.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come.
I think it will come. I think for him, for instance, if you go back to Zuma, when he came in, as far as I'm concerned, he's heading. Dawson's good, but Dawson was also a bit of a weakness because he's a good backup and he does a good job. But Zuma, there was no competition. Zuma came in. He wasn't fighting for his place. That was his centre back position. I think Vlasic has come into a different scenario. He's come in and he's up against Fornals, Benrahma, and Bowen, 3 players who are fucking on fire and they are top class. So it's probably quite daunting for him as well to try and fight his way in because these guys they're unreal Premier League players. They're fantastic, and he's probably he's come from an environment where he was a big fish in a small pond, and that ain't the case anymore. He's obviously joined us, and he's got to find his feet.
I'm just loving the way. I have no doubt that Moyes will develop him into another special player. I mean, you look at what Benrahma looked like when he joined us. He was a powder puff attacker. He had done some good flashes of brilliance and everything else. Different player now. Look at Bowen when he joined us. Very hard-working, industrious winger. Look at him now. Should have had a goal last night, but can play up front, and he's like a wasp. He annoys people. And look at Fornals. When Fornals stepped onto the pitch last night, he's like a Rolls Royce of an attacking midfielder.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. That honestly, that guy, don't want to talk about their market values, but because it just invites people. But I think Fornals could end up being, the next Declan Rice kind of asset, and so could Benrahma.
I think, and Bowen. What about Bowen?
Bowen has just got to add a few goals to his game, right? And
I mean, I'll tell you what, that chance yesterday, what was that? Oh, that was bad, wasn't it? Wasn't that bad?
I had my head in my hands.
You can tell. Do you know what that is now? It's almost becoming a thing because that goal at the weekend against Leeds wasn't his goal; it was deflected. So it's now becoming a thing, and you can see. Whereas last season, I think he was a good finisher and he had end products, but I think the rest of his game was lacking. Whereas this year, it's gone the other way. The rest of his game has gone up 10 levels. He's amazing. He's making good decisions, good runs. He looks fantastic. But now it's the final bit. The final bit, which is what he was good at before, it's kind of it's swung, and I think he'll get there. I think he'll definitely get there. But for me, he's turned. I say one of my favourite players. I think he struggled to find a player in our starting 11 that isn't one of my favourite players. We've got an amazing team, and I don't remember the last time. I mean, I speaking to Ben, my son last night, and he obviously he's favourite season was the last season at the Boleyn. That was kind of his. It was amazing. He loved Payet, but even he said yesterday. He said, do you know what? He said that team. He said that was all about one player. He said, if you ask me who my favourite player is in this team, he said, I don't think I could actually tell you.
Yeah.
He said, I don't think I could tell you. He said, not really. He said, because there's so many of them. He said, there's so many players that I love. Whereas prior to that, in that season, I don't think we've ever really had this, to be honest.
Well, not only that, that's a really good point that Ben made, and I think he's right. But I don't know when this happened. It must have been very subtle, but we were all over the summer worried about a striker and etc. And are we going to make any signings and everything else? And we made a small handful of signings. And off the back of that, we now seem to have a squad that we can rotate between competitions. And they are competent to play in those competitions, if not pretty good.
I know.
I don't know where this has come from, Nick. I was barely thinking I thought we had a good first 11 and nothing else. No, we've actually almost got 2 teams.
I know. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through. Before we do that, I'm going back to front. What's your prediction for the Brentford game?
2-1 West Ham.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-2, a thriller. 3-2 thriller.
I'll settle for that.
All right. So let's run through some comments. So right at the top, we've got Davinia. Chalkley says, "Good evening, lads. Good evening, Davinia.
Good evening."
He's got bored now. He's dropped off, but he's Bob said evening about half hour ago. Yeah. You've got Nigel King. This is about the QR codes. You know.
Yeah, it's true, Nige. It's true.
It's true. It is true. You've got yeah. It expands under that, you know. So.
Yeah, no. Again, like I said, you have to move the QR code. If it's in your Apple Wallet, just put your thumb on it and move it upwards, and wait for the light to hit the code, and it works.
This is Bob giving us shit because we left before the end.
Yeah, whatever, Bob. Say what you want. I've left 90 minutes for 30 years and missed about 5 goals. So there you
go. Jamie Knight.
Hello, Jamie.
Evening, Jamie. We've got Ryan Whitfield, who's
Ryan.
How you doing, Ryan? This is about Rice. This is about Rice. Yeah. He's going to break our hearts eventually, and I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, he will break our hearts, but he won't really break our hearts because he'll be going to, a Man City or, God forbid, fucking Man United, or even more, God forbid, fucking Chelsea. Yeah. I'd rather see him go to be honest, Man City or abroad. Yeah. Abroad would be my ideal. Yeah, he's going to
Faraway's Papua New Guinea. Send him somewhere like that.
Listen, every single. Look at Man United. They've got Cristiano Ronaldo back when he's like 47 years old. But they had to let him go at his peak, right? They had to let him go at his peak. This happens to even the best players.
Right, hang on. I think Nigel's expanding. This is Nigel Khan. Right, hang on.
Oh.
Talking about QR codes. Instead of using the QR code, use the barcode. Screenshot of the barcode works. What barcode? Do you get a barcode as well?
You get a barcode with a ticket, when they send it to you.
Ah, right. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. There you go. Learn something. You don't, because when you get an e-ticket, you don't get a barcode.
I'll tell you what, Ross has always used the barcode. He was going to use the barcode yesterday. I said, don't use that. Use the Apple Wallet. Add to wallet, right? And he tried to get in with a QR code and he couldn't, so he had to go back with the barcode. So Nigel was right.
So I've got a couple of comments from Jamie Knight. Yeah. Brentford are going to be a real test. Yeah, I think so. Gary doesn't think so. He thinks we're just too massive.
I'm just arrogant. I'm arrogant, I'm arrogant.
Yeah, look, they've got nothing to lose. No, they haven't. And that's the thing now. We're coming up to that point now where we're not that team anymore. We have got something to lose. We're trying to maintain last season's form. And like I say, I think we're doing a good job at that as well. I think that game yesterday, he did well. He kind of Moyes, he put out a strong team, stronger than probably what a lot would have. I mean, if you listened to TalkSport on the way home yesterday, you wouldn't have because he was on the train. But it was Leicester fans calling in, absolutely pissing and moaning because Rodgers, he didn't pick Vardy. He picked a second string team, and they struggled against whoever it was that they played. And
I'm crying inside. I'm crying inside.
And I'll tell you what, expanding on that on TalkSport as well, it was brilliant last night because you had Jamie O'Hara and Cundy on the
what they said.
I mean, the only downside was that Kane came on and scored a 20-minute hat trick against Mura, who are like the Macedonian champions or something. So they're a great team. You had Cundy ribbing in, but there was loads of West Ham fans calling in. It was so funny. He was proper giving him shit. Because what was his comment? What was that quote from Jamie O'Hara?
He was saying at the beginning of the season, before the season started, he said, "I'll tell you, this might surprise you, but West Ham are going to be in a relegation battle." Fucking Jamie O'Hara.
They set a record. They set some fucking stupid record that no one wants, where they was top of the league after 3 games.
Yeah,
because they won their first 3.
They declared at 3. Yeah,
Arsenal were bottom at that point, and then 3 games later they've switched places. Apparently, that's never happened before.
So they were selling DVDs. They were selling DVDs after the 3 games. They were calling the championship. They booked the bus and everything.
They were. Honestly, but yeah, they was all calling up yesterday. Because Kane scored a hat trick. He's back. Kane's back. He's back. Apparently,
Kane's back. Because he scored a hat trick against the fucking Macedonian dog and duck. It's like they've found their level. They've found their level at last.
I know.
25,000 fans at Spurs last night for a European game. 50,000 fans at London Stadium for a European game. Therein lies the difference.
Right, we've got a. I don't know what this is, Gary. You can read this one out. But this is from Danny Martinez, who he may be joining us after. Right, hang on.
Yeah.
Where are we? I've just lost it. There we are. Right. I just poured a dram of Sazerac rye for the occasion, fellas. I'm not sure what. If you're saying dram, is that a whiskey? What?
Yeah,
What
it sounds like a single malt to me.
Nice, Jamie. Good. Well, hopefully we'll get you on in a little bit. We've got another one here. This is from Daniel Quasi Smith. I'm just going to check it for swear words before I put it up because I know what Dan's like. Hang on. Right, yes, brothers. And after listening to Rice last night, what's to say he won't stay? We have another good season. He'll be here for another couple of seasons. There's 3 wins in 8 days, 3 different competitions, 21 players. And as tough as Brentford will be, I feel it's ours to lose and we should win this 1-0 or 2-1 as we are fucking massive. And do you know what? We are fucking massive.
I agree totally with that. And the main reason I agree with that is because West Ham don't do banana skins anymore. Brentford's a banana skin. We're going to walk past the banana skin and we're going to fucking turn them over. Yes, we are.
We're going to turn it over. Big style. Yeah. Big style. Right. Anyway, let's wrap up the comments for now. We'll go back to them in a bit. And we will move on to another section. So this is basically any other business we're moving on to now. Going to be talking about a few different bits and pieces. I'm just basically trying to remove the comments now as we speak. I'm not very good at this. But yeah, so obviously what we've got, we're going to touch on the elephant in the room, Sunday's protests. So we're gonna talk about that, and we're not going to be inflammatory. We're going to, I think most people, certainly from our Facebook group, they kind of know what our opinions are, but I think
call you up on the lack of apostrophe. In
yeah. Well, there you go. They can call me up on that. They can call me up on that. So that's absolutely fine. And then right at the end, if we've got any viewers left after we've pissed them all off, we'll do the Premier League predictor. Which is basically what we'll do is if we do actually happen to have any people that want to come on and talk to us once we've run through this, then we'll throw them up on screen. We'll talk to you. We'll ask you about the game, yesterday's game, what you think about Brentford. At the weekend, and also some of these next topics that we're going to be discussing. And once we've done that, we're going to do a Premier League predictor and find out where we're definitively going to be come December. Right, we're going to be completely non-biased and completely impartial with our result selections, and we'll take it from there. But I suppose, where do you want to start, Gal? With any other business?
Well, let me start and talk about the planned march by Hammers United on Sunday. And look, I respect the right to march. I absolutely do. It's one of my values. I think everybody should have the right to demonstrate and about something that they feel strongly about. Completely support that, and they want to do it. So great. Good luck. I'll comment on it because I think it's primarily about 2 things, and that's GSB out and hating the London Stadium. I think they're the 2 kind of, from all the stuff I've read, they're the 2 things that keep coming up over and over again. In fact, some of the Hammers United tweets started out with hashtag GSB out, right? So it's an agenda, the GSB out agenda. And I don't say completely disagree with the GSB out agenda. They're not my favorite. I've got a bit of time for David Gold because of what he did for our dad. I've got no time at all for Karen Brady. I think she's a waste of space. Brady out, as they would say in that podcast. And
Brady out.
And David Sullivan. I mean, the less said about him, the better. I'm not going to say too much other than I think he's an unsuitable character to run a football club. But at the same time, I think he's learnt from a lot of his mistakes, and when push comes to shove, when you look back at the history of West Ham, have we ever liked the owners? And the fact is, no, we haven't. We've always hated the owners.
Always.
That is part of our makeup. I'll tell you what, Nick, if me and you won the Uber Galactic, billionaire lottery tomorrow, and we had a couple of billion, and we decide, right, what I'm going to do with my couple of billion, I'm going to spend a quarter of that and go and buy West Ham, right? Even though we love West Ham and we've been watching them and paying to go, following them away and doing all this stuff and 30 years of season ticket and everything else, I guarantee inside 2 weeks, people
We'll
would
be
hate
Tottenham
our
fans.
fucking guts, right? Hate our fucking guts. And so that's where I say, when it comes to David Sullivan, no, I don't like him as a character. I think he's a bit of an unsavoury character, but at the same time, he's an owner, and who likes owners? So it's dressed up, I think, as a huge sort of manifesto of problems. I watched a Hamish United promotional video, and there's a few minutes of basically listing different problems that people have got, and so I thought I'd respond to some of those problems just to frame it a little bit. So, am I happy with the stadium? That's number one. Well, I wasn't, but I am now. I quite enjoy it now. I like my seats. I like the way it looks. I think aesthetically it looks a lot better than it did before. I think the atmosphere is pretty good. And I'm in the lower tier, which makes a massive difference. The upper tier, I think, is a bit crap. Is it suitable for football? Well, yeah, I think it is now. I don't think it was. When you look at it on TV, you imagine, you go back to when we played in Croatia and you saw that game on telly and you saw the massive gaps between the stands and everything else. It looked a bit pathetic, didn't it? When you see the London Stadium, watch it back. If you didn't watch it, watch the BT Sport coverage last night of the London Stadium in that game with irons in the background and everything else. And tell me you don't think
amazing
that stadium looked fucking magnificent last night. It looked magnificent. Third one, do I like where I sit and have I been moved from friends and family? Well, to start with, when we moved into that stadium, I had a choice to keep my seats with the group, which was, Paul and Patrick and everyone else, but you came along, you moved your seats from somewhere else and it kind of interfered with our group and we couldn't expand the group by 2 seats. So we had to move up a tier while they stayed lower tier. Then, for one reason or another, all the tickets have changed again, but I've ended up back down in the Bobby Moore with the people I used to stand with in the old Bobby Moore. So I think I haven't been moved away from friends and family. I haven't. And so that's fine. Do I like the surroundings around the stadium? Well, as I said up front, walking to the stadium, I actually really like it now. I ain't done it in ages. I usually walk down the canal 1 mile away, but I think it's much improved from what it was. It was a building site when we moved in. It was a building site. It ain't a building site anymore. Yeah, you ain't got those street vendors that were there before, and that's something that can be fixed. But that is just one issue. As for the rest of it, I find it quite nice. Do I feel like a customer rather than a supporter? I've always been a customer. I've paid this season ticket money for God knows how many years, like many people have, and it's always, if I don't pay my season ticket money, I'm no longer a customer, right? They take my season ticket away from me. I am a customer. I'm buying a product. It's what it is. But I'm still a supporter as well. I'm a fan. I'm a supporter. Next one. Are we next level yet? Because we were promised next level. Well, I think we're on the verge of next level. Let me tell you. We've been, if you go back the season before last, the end of that season and all of last season and the start of this season, that's coming up to 2 seasons of consistent improvement and building what looks like to be a solid progressive team, and not only that, structure around it, including the backroom staff, including the scouting network, the head of recruitment, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, before then it was chaos. It was chaos, utter chaos. But have they put some fixes in place, and has it got better? Absolutely, it has. So. I don't think, when you look at these different issues, I know it's subjective. So some people have got real problems and massive issues, hate the stadium, hate GSB, don't care. They're just gonna go against them no matter what they do. I think that is up to you, and it's not my position. My position is I'm quite easily pleased. I usually drive to the football. I usually walk down the canal, go in. I meet up with some people for a drink. I go and watch the football. I have a good time. I come out. I occasionally have a drink. I get back in my car and I go home, and that's the end of my football experience. Sometimes if I'm having a big day out, we'll get there early, over Hackney Wick, have a load of drinks and get it. But it's basically the same routine applies. It's just plus or minus alcohol. So my problems with the experience, the overall experience I'm talking about, team, stadium, ownership, blah, blah, blah. My real problems with West Ham at the moment boil down to overpriced and rubbish beer, and it takes ages to get served, overpriced and rubbish food, and it takes ages to get served. And then the QR code problem. I don't have many issues, but that's me personally. Other people have more issues than me. So to sum up, from my point of view, I don't know what the march is actually about, other than GSB out and hating London Stadium. I'm not on board with that. So what do you think?
Well, I think you know how I think, but I mean, just to run through your points again. Am I happy with the stadium? If I'm honest, and you know this as well, prior to COVID happening, I'm a loyal supporter. I followed West Ham from Upton Park to the London Stadium, and I bloody hated it for 2 years, 3 years. I couldn't stand it. I didn't like it. I couldn't adapt. I had the same problem with my sons as well. They didn't like it, and I think a lot of that is down to us being creatures of habit, and the fact that we don't like change, and the fact that we had so many memories over at the old place. I mean, me and you personally, we used to go with our dad. So there's it was a special place. So it was really difficult to kind of embrace that stadium, especially when we were struggling as well, like we were on the pitch, because we were struggling. But then, fast forward to COVID, what's happened, that 18 months out of football, I've got to be honest, I couldn't wait to get back. And that first game against Leicester, it opened my eyes a little bit. And it was almost, to me, I started to feel like maybe I was just being fucking stubborn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was being completely stubborn towards it, because that was brilliant. Upton Park was a special place. It was, and it really was. That's why we all fell in love with West Ham. But that was special as well, because I do think that it's all about the people. You can take one of these massive arenas. If you fill it with I don't know, Arsenal fans, it'll be quiet. If you fill it with West Ham fans, it'll be loud. It's the people. It's the people that make that make an occasion, that make it special. Do I sympathise? Yeah, I do sympathise. I'm not one for I'm not one for protests. I've never been to a protest in my life. I'm not one for that. I personally, that's not me. But I do sympathise for with people that have struggled to adapt. But personally, for me, I've embraced the stadium now. Like since we've gone back this season, it's been amazing, and it helps to have this fantastic team as well. It's been brilliant. This group of players that we've been watching on TV for bloody 18 months, we can actually go and watch them now. It's been great. Is it suitable for football? Well, fuck me. It is. It's not. It hasn't got the same intimacy as what Upton Park has. But what it lacks in intimacy, it makes up for in. We look massive, like you just said. You go back to the TV coverage of that. Even if you just look at the fucking light show, it's impressive. That felt like an event. When I went to that game, when I went to the game last night, it didn't feel like I was going to a football match. It felt like I was going to a big fuck off event. Like it was special, like something. If anything, the football let it down. It was amazing. So, do I like where I sit and have I been moved? I can't really answer this one, because foolishly, I let my season ticket go this year for the first time. I couldn't commit, even though I'm probably going to end up going and paying for most games anyway. But I manage my son's football team, and this year of all years, I have let my season ticket go. But people I know, friends and family, a lot of them have been shifted, but the club have been quite helpful in shifting them where they want to go. For instance, Gary's shifted down to the Bobby Moore Lower, where he wanted to be, and it's worked out well for him. He loves it down here, and that's where I've been when I've been for the first few games. And I've got to be honest, if you're trying to get a ticket, that is impressive. Get down there. You are close to the pitch. The views are similar to Upton Park when you was in the Bobby Moore Lower there. You're right on it. It's really, really good. Boisterous atmosphere. Loved it. Do I like the surroundings in the stadium? Pretty much like what you said. I think it's improved now, obviously, because it was a development when we moved in. Now it's more developed. Now there's a lot more going on. I quite like it. I think it's got a lot of character. If you forget, take what West Ham was out of the equation, take Plaistow out of the equation, take, Green Street and all the street vendors, look at Stratford for what it is, Hackney Wick, you got all, there are so many, but it's a lot of character, an awful lot of character to that area, bars and restaurants and stuff like that. We're almost spoiled for choice. Do I feel like a customer rather than a supporter? Same as you. Yeah, I've always felt like a customer. I don't see what the difference is, to be honest. I am a supporter and I'm a customer. I'm both.
Yeah.
Are we at next level yet? We are absolutely at next level. If you're talking about where we were, we ain't going to next level. We are at the next level. I mean, fuck me, to go to the next level, you're talking about serious, ridiculous investment that would probably, to keep us there long term. Because when you look at the teams that we're going up against, to get us in that sort of top four, you're talking a ridiculous investment where GSB would probably need to sell at that point because they couldn't afford to fund it. But I think for where they are and where we are, I don't think we could be any better than what we are at the moment. We're brilliant. So for me, on the marches and the protests, I do feel for people that don't feel like me, and I really do. I'm kind of I suppose I'm good at kind of adapting, and I'll just move forwards. And I know that not everyone's like that, and I respect what everyone thinks. Everyone's got the right to think and say what they do. But do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it. I don't know unless it's like you say. It's just I hate GSB now, regardless of what they do. I mean, I've seen posts that have literally said West Ham could win the Premier League and the Champions League. I still want GSB out. Well, that's personal. That's a personal vendetta. That's all that is. I'm sorry. That just means that and I've got no interest in that, to be quite honest, because
I think let's be clear, right? Hamish United is a good solid group run by good solid people. I'm a member of Hamish United. I support what they do. I do think what I struggle with the march is what they're actually marching for, right? If it ain't GSB out, I'll say I struggle with what they're actually marching for. But as Nigel says on here, the march looks to be, it's Nigel Khan, looks to be in response to most fans who claim that Hamish United only protest when things are going badly. And so they're trying to be consistent and march as well when things are going well. It gives a little bit of a consistency. So I can see that. And honestly, look, good luck to them. I hope they enjoy their day out and have a good march. It's just not my cup of tea. That's all.
No.
And going back to what you said about Upton Park is absolutely right. And I don't want this to be a slight on Upton Park because I hope everybody knows I fucking adored Upton Park. I mean, I got in trouble with my wife, right? My wife Lisa. That night when Upton Park, when they closed the doors. And come back from the Man United game, and I was a little bit pissed, a little bit emotional, surprisingly. And I said to her, it's gone. She said, "What's gone?" I said, "Upton Park, it's gone." She said, "Oh, what? It's fucking what, a football ground?" I said, "Yeah," but I said, "Listen, that was the one constant in my entire life, gone." It's true. It was we just lost, our parents a couple of years earlier.
Yeah.
There was one thing that had been there throughout my whole life, was Upton Park, and suddenly it disappeared. And it was when it dawned on me, it was a choker. And when the next thing that hurt was when they fucking blew it up to make that film afterwards, because it was like stamping on someone's grave. But anyway, don't get me going. I think we've covered that topic, I think. So
we have. I mean, look, it is sensitive because you've got an awful lot of people. I mean, even if you look at, I don't agree with everybody. I don't agree with everybody, but you know what? I do admire those that put an awful lot of time into these things as well, because they are passionate about it. They put a load of their spare time in. They do believe that it's the right thing. They may be right, I may be wrong, but at the end of the day, it's all about opinions. And like I say, as long as it doesn't affect what's happening on the pitch, then fine, whatever. Just crack on. But what were your thoughts on the statue?
I never actually saw it, but I've seen pictures of it, and I think it's I went to the game and completely forgot to go and have a look, and we went past the Champions Place as well, so I don't know how I missed it. But putting European champions on it is a bit of a stretch. Clearly, a Brady Brady out decision. I don't know. To me, the way they've done it and put Moore, Hurst and Peters, which were our greatest players and the greatest trio in the World Cup, they weren't necessarily our greatest trio in the European Cup Winners' Cup final. Alan Seeley scored both goals in a 2-0 win. Yet he doesn't get to feature on the statue. So I'm a little bit peeved about that, to be honest, that they ignored the rest of the team. And so that's where, when it went on the Facebook group, this is the sort of thing people were saying, and I agree with that sentiment. It's a good move because it should be remembered. That 65 Cup Winners' Cup win we were only second English team to win a European trophy, a major European trophy, and that should never be forgotten. But I think it's a bit skewed the way they've done it. But I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I look, a lot of the complaints, were about the fact that we've kind of left our heritage behind, and we haven't kind of acknowledged it. But then you look at that, you got people saying that, and then you got people saying, I'm not saying I disagree with Nigel, but Nigel disagrees with the statue because he thinks, what's the point, because it didn't happen there. But it's part of our history, so I don't know. I don't know what's the right thing and what's not. But it's literal proof that I don't think they can do any right. Doesn't matter what they do. I think they're going to get criticised.
Yeah, no, I agree. Can we just touch on one thing, seeing as we're on the any other business section, right?
Go on.
Nigel Khan on his podcast decided to liken it to the craze, and he said that I was like Reggie and you were like Ronnie. Now, look,
it was the other way around. It was the other way around.
No, listen. Let me explain, right? Before I'll let you have your input at the end, right? Now, I'm not like I shouldn't be aligned to gangsters because I'm a lover, not a fighter. That's the first thing, right? And I don't really buy the old craze thing of it was much better you could leave your front door open. It's because no one had anything to nick. And even the telly was too heavy to carry away back in the day when the craze were around. And, so I don't buy that. But anyway, look, if we're talking about Ronnie and Reggie, Reggie was older than Ronnie. I'm older than you. Reggie was 10 minutes older than Ronnie. I'm 10 years older than you. So I can be Reggie, you can be Ronnie. But there's one other reason why you are Ronnie. And that is you're a fucking... How do I put this politely? Have you watched the Craze film? Right now, there's several of them, but the one with the Kemp brothers, which I thought was pretty good, and there was another one recently as well. But one common thread across those Craze films is Ronnie was fucking nuts. He was a bit of a head case, wasn't he? And
I don't know what he's trying to say. To be quite honest,
what he tends to do is take very little to trigger him off, right? And it reminded me of a time where, in seasons gone past, where you've become very unpopular on certain Facebook groups because straight after a game where we've lost, you've basically gone on and gone, come on, who's fucking having it? Come on,
I lose me rag. I must admit, I do lose me rag. But yeah, look. I mean, Nigel says Ron and Reggie. I say Bill and Ben. But
it's more like it.
Or Ant and Dick. Ant and Dick.
Ant and Dick.
But yeah, I'll take that reference. I suppose. But anyway, what we've got now is we've got a special guest, I believe, from the United States. We've got Danny Martinez, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw Danny up on screen.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I'm here.
Indeed, Danny.
Here he is.
You're right,
Danny.
I didn't know I was going to be the only one in here. I feel like there's a lot of pressure now.
No, don't be silly. You're not. You're not. There's no pressure. There's no pressure. How are you anyway?
I'm wonderful. Feel a little under the weather. Just stayed home today. I was actually playing FIFA when my wife messaged me. She's in the Facebook group and says, "Hey, you ought to join their live stream and talk with them. You love talking about the Hammers, and because nobody watches West Ham here. I live in the smack dab middle of the United States where no one gives a flying fuck about football here.
So whereabouts from the US are you?
I'm originally from Miami, Florida.
Nice.
I live here in Missouri now. I'd say about a 4-hour drive from St. Louis, maybe an 8-hour drive south of Chicago. I'm trying to use like big landmarks so you know.
Brilliant.
So thanks for having me on, man.
No worries. Thanks for joining us. Did you catch a game last night?
Yeah, that's part of why my voice I don't normally sound like this.
Good. Was you at home? Was you at home or down the pub?
I was at home. No pubs show any Premier League games or anything. There's a couple that will put it on, but
very disappointing. There's
not a whole lot of like thrills to get being the only one in the pub watching this, that game.
Have you got any supporters groups where you are? Because I know there's a lot of American supporters groups over there, isn't there?
Not anywhere near where I live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, not so the reason I'm even a Hammers fan is my best friend's dad is from East London. And it's kind of contagious, this passion. And they just recently moved back to London. So so that was the only person I would have watched any games with, and now he's gone. So I just watch him with my wife these days now.
So have you been over, Danny? You've been over to see us live?
So it's funny you mentioned that. No, didn't get a chance to see him play in Upton Park. I will get a chance. So that best friend I mentioned, Reese, is getting married in April. And my wife and I will be there. And it's around the time that we play Arsenal at home. Going to try and make that game.
We're going to beat Arsenal this year for the first time in ages. We're going to beat them.
Dude, I'm not scared of Arsenal. Like me
neither.
Honestly, Danny, make sure that when you do come over, if you do struggle to get tickets, make sure you try and tap us up on this group because Gary in particular, we do know people, so we might be able to sort of get your tickets into the game because it'd be a shame if you couldn't make it.
And even if we don't make it to the ground, I would be okay with going to a watch party. Like, I just want to be surrounded by people wearing these colors.
Oh no, yeah. You'll get into the ground. Don't worry, you'll get into the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like a load of fun, especially last night.
It's
after after seeing what the Rapid Vienna supporters were like, my wife's like, "Well, we're not sitting there."
Yeah. It was quite tasty. It was quite tasty over there. Apparently, it's going to be even tastier. It's going to be tastier in Vienna. When we go to Vienna, it's going to be quite rough. Apparently,
I don't know if the Hitler chant probably needs to make a comeback. If we're visiting over there.
I think that did make an appearance yesterday. To be honest,
I already saw all the videos. Like, I'm aware that over there it's a little bit more like it's just banter. But maybe you guys are a little bit more desensitized to that kind of banter than we are here in the States. Because I'm a diehard Miami Dolphins fan. If you guys see my profile picture, like I got my face painted, like I am crazy. But if you pulled that kind of shit out here, like you'd get kicked out. You'd get there'd be stadium bans. It'd be a mess. But hilarious.
Yeah, I hope they don't go over to Austria and sing that song in Austria.
It could be a mistake. It could be.
Especially as a visitor. That's not great.
No.
Yeah, no. I know. But do you listen to the More Than the podcast, Danny?
So the podcast I listen to, the West Ham Way, I listen to sometimes. The Friday Night Pint, like the guys from West Ham Fan TV. And then you guys very recently, I think it was Nick that sent me a private message some time ago. Like,
I poached you from somewhere.
You poached you. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll talk with you guys.
Basically, there's a podcast that is really, really popular. You got it's hosted by Sean Whetstone, and you got Nigel Khan and Canning Town then, and there's a bit of he thinks he's in the know, Sean, but I'm not too sure sometimes. Nigel Khan has got a bit of a term for anybody who lives outside East London. So it's not just because you're overseas. He calls anyone who lives outside East London out of towners, and he's just thrown that up. He said out of towners convention. Taking it to the extreme with this one, though. Taking it to the extreme with this one.
Well, just don't call me a Yank because I'm.
No.
I'm Colombian American, so it's not
it's a great podcast. So listen to it.
Okay, sure.
So your thoughts on the game, on the Rapid Vienna game yesterday?
It didn't look like we had full control of that game in the beginning.
Really?
It looked like we were really taking it to them, right? And they were just really chippy and kind of making things clunky for us. Really, once Declan opened up with that scoring, and again, and you guys had